Hey guys, Rift here, and today I want to talk about Dying Light's DLC, The Following. Dying Light The Following was really good. One main reason for this is that a lot of the issues I had with the base game was fixed, but that doesn't mean that The Following does not have its own issues. Let's get right into it. Let's start with a quick overview. We find Kyle Crane in the tower with a man heavily injured, claiming that there are people in the countryside that seem to be immune to the Haran virus. With the tower in dire need of a solution for the lack of antizen, Kyle Crane sets out to find this group of people. Now right off the bat, the main story for The Following is really strong compared to the base game. As you dig deeper into the story, the more you question yourself, are they really immune to the virus, or is something sinister happening? Overall, the story in The Following had more layers than the base game, where in the base game it felt like a generic hero saves the day story. Here it's not like that. The story is more mysterious and the big reveal at the end was really surprising. Though if you pay close attention to the story, you'll figure out what's happening relatively early in the game. But still, overall, the story is a lot better. Let's talk about the main mission and the side quest. Now overall, The Following's main missions are basically to level up your trust and to help the survivors. Once a certain level of trust is met, you progress further to the main story. Main mission wise, there's not a lot to talk about. Most of the main missions are cutscenes telling you what's happening. The side quests are what I want to focus on. Another issue I had with the base game was that the side quests were 90% fetch quests. Go here to get this item and bring this item to start this quest. You get what I mean. In the DLC, there are a lot more variety to the side quests, which was a welcome sight. The other great thing about the side quests is that the game does not force you to finish every side quest. Do a few side quests and before you know it, you're at level 5 trust level and you can finish this DLC. Which to me was a great thing as I never felt like you were wasting your time with a side quest. Each one that you did, you get closer to finishing the DLC. One other thing about the main quest is that the length is just right for a DLC. Now this is my personal preference, but I'm not really a fan of long DLCs as most of the time I would burn out while playing the DLC. Next, let's talk about the new content. First, the buggy. The buggy was a really good addition to the game. Though I did really miss the parkour element, as to me the parkour aspect of Dying Light is what makes it unique and it's the main identity of Dying Light. The buggy was also really fun to drive. Upgrading the buggy was a nice addition. A quick tip, once you're able to upgrade your buggy's component to level 2, do it at once, because the level 1 components just suck. Now admittedly, I didn't level up my driving skills to the fullest, so I didn't get a chance to try all of the skills. But to me, the most important skills were the ones where you could upgrade your buggy's components. The buggy as a weapon was really fun. It never got old trying to run over zombies. The added challenges like the races, random challenges, and hunting the vulture was also really good, though it felt annoying to chase a vulture in an area full of trees, but running over zombies, driving really fast, was fun. The customization option was very cool. I like the bubbleheads, but the customization for the buggy itself, I really didn't notice it that much. Gathering material for the buggy was okay, but it felt weird finding just a pair of screws in the whole car. It just felt wrong. I would have liked to see more sections where the buggy was used more in main missions. It felt like the buggy was only there to take you places rather than something useful for the story itself. Sure, if your buggy flipped over, it was really annoying to run back to a safe zone to get it back, but aside from taking you to places, overall the buggy wasn't used enough for main missions specifically. Next, let's talk about the map. The map was okay. I did miss the parkour aspect of the game, but overall the map was really nice, with wide open areas and beaches. It felt like a good place to take a vacation. And it was a huge change from Haran's dense city. One thing I didn't like about the map is how main missions and side quests are given to you. You'd find yourself driving back and forth from one same location to another over and over again. It's like your mom asking you to buy milk at the supermarket. When you get back home, she tells you she forgot something, and then you go back to the supermarket again. And then you get back home and the same thing happens all over again. It felt frustrating and boring sometimes to constantly have to drive back and forth from one location to the other constantly. I mean, they had radios, right? Why not use the radios to tell Crane that he has to do something in a specific place instead of having to drive back to the main hub just to get a few missions? Next, let's talk about the zombies. The Freaks of Nature was a really good challenge and a good concept, but most of them had easy exploits. The Freaks of Nature were just a bigger and more challenging versions of their regular counterpart. Felt like more could have been done with this concept. The number of zombies in this location doesn't make sense to me, as it felt like there were too many zombies and too many virals in a location that is not as dense as Haran. It just didn't feel right. It would have been better with less infected but with more tougher and stronger infected. I did like the new looks of the infected overall though. Next, let's talk about the viral nest. It was fun for the first 2 times, but after that it did feel repetitive, and there is not much incentive to do them, because there were no incentives to go out at night. Next, let's talk about the combat. The new weapons did feel really nice, but it was more of the same. One of the highlights was the crossbow. This was really fun to use. If you've ever watched The Walking Dead, we all know how badass Daryl is with the crossbow, and using the crossbow here made me feel the same. But aside from that, there were not a lot of changes to the combat, which was to be expected. This next part is gonna be a spoiler, and this time I promise I'm gonna do it right. So I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to skip here. Alright, if you're still here, let's talk about the final boss. I don't know what it is with Techland, but their final bosses within the base game and the DLC was really bad. I went with a chronological timeline where Crane would become a sentient viral, but the boss fight with Mother was really boring. I hope that they make better boss fights in Dying Light 2. Let's move over to the conclusion. The DLC overall was good. The story was a lot better than the base game, though not by a lot. It still felt like it was forgettable. The added content was good for a DLC. The buggy and the crossbow was a nice addition. As for the map, I was really frustrated at how much you would have to drive back and forth to the same location. Driving is fun, yes, but driving back and forth was not fun at all. The length of the DLC was perfect, and how fast you would get your trust level up also helped with that. To be honest, I was burnt out with Dying Light at this point, but with what the DLC had to offer, overall it was good enough to keep me playing, as I was satisfied with the DLC. Yes, it was really fun, and it's good to see that some of the issues I saw in the main game was a lot better. But to me, there's still more that Techland can do with the Dying Light franchise, and I hope they deliver with Dying Light 2. If you want more Dying Light and you're already finished with the base game, the following is a good way to experience more of Dying Light while waiting for Dying Light 2. The story is not too long or too short, and the added content, to me, was worth it. If you would ask me if you should buy the DLC, I say go for it. That's gonna be it for today, you guys. If you got this far, thank you very much. Remember to like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. Tell me down below if you've played the DLC and what you think of it, or if you haven't, tell me, are you going to play the DLC? Also comment down below what you want to see from me. That's gonna be it for today. Peace out, talk to you soon.